Safe Harbor ladies. Today is our second class in our Christian Secret of a Happy Life by Hannah Whitall Smith series. And last week we talked about trusting the Lord. This week we are going to be talking about confidence in God. And I was processing, how is trust different from confidence, and how do we feel that difference in the body? And so for me, I feel like trust makes this anxious energy go down. It helps me relax. It's about staying in the present moment, falling back into the arms of Jesus and knowing He'll take care of me. Confidence feels a little more like it has some muscle in it. A sense of being able to talk back to voices of self-doubt and temptation. And so we're going to be talking about confidence today, confidence in the Lord. And the feeling that we have of confidence in the body, a lot can come from having the heart open, so shoulders back, heart lifted, and taking up some space. So a few years ago, a woman named Amy Cuddy did some research. She's a social scientist at Harvard University, and she discovered some power poses that help us feel confident in ourselves. And we are going to be doing the Wonder Woman pose. You'll notice I also have a rolled up mat here and a thick block and a thin block. We'll be needing those later, but if you want to pause and get those now just so that they're there and out of the way, that will work. So power poses take up a lot of space, so step your feet a little further apart than you would usually, and we're going to put the hands on the hips. Okay, so this is Wonder Woman, the power pose. Now, there's another woman who uses this research. Her name is Paramita Khattar, and she was a Bollywood actress, so think Hollywood, but in India. And now she works in Chicago as a photographer and an image consultant. So she helps women to feel strong and confident. And these are some of the pointers she said about this Wonder Woman pose that I thought were really helpful. She said, it's important that the fingers are on the front plane of the body. So this says confidence, fingers pointing back says my back is tired. And we want to portray some confidence. And for women, if you have a little thicker waist, you can bring the fingers closer to each other, which can help you feel a little more confident there. Now, if I were collapsing in the shoulders and the heart, does this still look confident? Not so much. So we're gonna roll the shoulders back and be wide across the collarbone. So we're lifting the breastbone or the sternum up, and our chin is parallel to the floor. So we're not sinking at all. Now, Amy Cuddy says that the magic amount of time for a power pose to really boost our confidence is 2 minutes. So in that 2 minutes, sometimes we might start to feel a little tired. And our usual thing is to sag into a hip when we're tired of standing. But Paramita says that this, while you might feel confident on the inside, on the outside, this is not the picture of confidence. It's maybe the picture of being sassy and having an attitude, and we want to look strong and powerful. So she says if you get a little tired, then you cross a leg in front of the other, and doesn't that look much more confident? So here we are in our Wonder Woman pose, and we're going to hold this for 2 minutes without holding the breath, breathing nice and steadily and fully into the front and back of the ribs while I read this quote from the Christian Secret of Happy Life. This is a really good quote, and it is about 2 minutes when I read it. So There is nothing so contrary to God as sin, and God will not suffer sin always to rule his masterpiece, humanity. Would you approve of it if I should tell you that God puts forth his power to do such a thing, but the devil hinders him? That it is impossible for God to do it because the devil does not like it? That it is impossible that anyone should be free from sin because the devil has got such a power in them that God cannot cast him out? This is lamentable doctrine, yet hath not this been preached. It doth in plain terms say, the doctrine that's preached says, though God doth interpose his power, it's impossible because the devil has so rooted sin in the nature of man. Is not man God's creature? And cannot he make him new and cast sin out of him? If you say sin is deeply rooted in man, I say so too. Yet not so deeply rooted, but Christ Jesus hath entered so deeply into the root of the nature of man that he hath received power to destroy the devil and his works, and to recover and redeem man into righteousness and holiness. Or else it is false that he is able to save to the uttermost all that come unto God by him. That verse is from Hebrews. It's 7:25, and it's in a passage about Jesus as a high priest and how unparalleled he is. We must throw away the Bible if we say that it is impossible for God to deliver man out of sin. And did you feel it in those words? That's that muscle of confidence, that it's not just, oh, I trust Jesus to forgive me. It's like, he can. He is able. And that is going to be our mantra throughout this class. We'll keep coming back to he is able. And we're going to say it with confidence. All right. So we're going to come to the top of our mat and do 3 SON sun salutations. So now plant the feet hip width apart. Lift all the toes to root down squarely through all 4 corners of the feet. And we'll inhale, circle up, reaching through the ring fingers. Exhale, bow knees, bend head, sinks. Inhale, press into the shins, come up halfway. Exhale, bow. And this time we're going to put the fingertips on the front of the hips, thumbs on the back. We're going to bend the knees and come up with a flat back that way and say, he is able. Bring the hands in front of the heart, lifting the breastbone up towards the thumbs. Jesus, we thank you that through your forgiveness, you have freed us from sin's condemnation. Inhale and circle up again. And exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, bow. And then hands on hips, knees bent, heart forward. He is able. And hands in front of the heart, heart lifting towards the thumbs. Jesus, we thank you that you've released us from our past and have given us a new beginning. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, bow. Knees bending any amount. Inhale, come up halfway, maybe fingertips on the floor. Exhale, bow and sink in. Hands on the hips, knees bent, come up. He is able. And hands at the heart, heart lifting. And Jesus, thank you that you free us from the power of sin now so that we can live in holiness and righteousness. Inhale, circle and reach up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, sinking in. And hands on hips, knees bent, come up. He is able. Feel the confidence of that. It's not confidence in our own strength, it's confidence in who He is. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. And this time we're going to step back with the right leg and then come down onto that back knee. Make any adjustments, front foot forward, back knee back to come a little bit more onto the top of the kneecap. Coming up on the fingertips to lift tall and keep the collarbone spread wide. Sinking the hips down into this low lunge. Feeling the back quadriceps start to wake up. And then we're going to plant the right hand, bring the left hand onto this left thigh knee and push it away. So we're opening up through the heart. Feeling that left shoulder moving back, hugging in towards the spine, and then reach that arm up. We are confident in Jesus' power to overcome not only the sin in our past, but sin in our present. Sweep that arm down, switch legs, bring the right foot forward, bring the left knee back any amount just so that front knee stays stacked over the ankle. And then come up on the fingertips, bringing heart forward, sinking into the hips a little more. And then planting the left hand, pushing the right thigh away, opening and lifting, gaze is up. Our confidence is in Jesus. He is able. And reaching up with that right arm. And sweep it down. And we're going to change legs again. So left foot forward, knee not going past the ankle. But this time we're going to rise up. Inhale and sweep the arms up. And exhale, draw the elbows wide. Heart lifts, gaze lifts. Inhale up. And exhale, elbows squeezing back, making a trench in the upper back between the shoulder blades. Inhale up. And exhale back. And sweep the hands down. Change legs. Adjusting so that the knee doesn't go past the ankle. And inhale, sweep up. And exhale, elbows wide. Inhale up. And again down. Feeling that heart lifting, filled with confidence. And as we take up more space, we feel that confidence spreading through the body. And sweep the hands down. Whew. Alrighty. We're going to bring the left foot forward again, but this time keep that stance a little straighter. So instead of walking that knee back so much, walk it in so you're more at all right angles. You can bring the left hand onto the top of that left knee, and we're going to keep up on the ball of the back right foot. So as we reach down and grab that heel, it's not as close to the ground and it's a little more accessible. And then we're going to sweep the left arm up, Ardha Ustrasana, and we're going to pull that left shoulder down and into the shoulder girdle so that we can feel that support of the shoulder blades behind the heart lifting up. Confidence building. And rising up and changing sides. Right knee forward, more at a right angle. Right hand can be on that right knee for stability to start. And then we're going to reach back with the left hand for the left heel. Sweeping the right arm up, plugging that arm into the shoulder girdle. Lifting the heart, lifting the gaze. Filled with confidence. stable. And rising up. Whew. And we're going to come into a wide knee child's pose. So bring the knees as wide as the mat, big toes together, hips sinking back, forehead touching the floor. If that's not accessible, you can bring the hands under the forehead and stack them so that your forehead's against the back of the top hand. Or stack the fists. But what we're going for here is a little pressure at the center of the eyebrow. It helps calm and steady the mind. Feel the breath filling the back of the lungs, slowing us down. This is time for a sacred pause. Time when we can pray and ask God, how can I have more confidence in you and in your power? How can I show that confidence outwardly? And Lord, how can I root my confidence in who you are and not in my own strength? Pause and wait for the Spirit's answer. And rising up. Alrighty. We are going to do a passive heart opener, and there's a couple ways that you can come into this. So the mats at Safe Harbor are a little, they're really soft. And if you roll your mat up into a tight roll, you can place it under the shoulder blades. So it's near the bottom tip of the shoulder blades, and lay back over that mat roll. And see how lovely it is to have the heart lifting up. I have my arms in that cactus position to make room. And we can pause here. If you're finding that that's not feeling very heart opening for whatever reason, maybe your mat is a little mushed when you lay back on it, then you can do this with blocks. So I will demonstrate that. So here we have two heights of blocks. So this is my thicker block. I'm going to have it on its shortest height, but it's a little taller than my thin block. And so the thick block will go under the shoulder blades, and the lower block will go, shorter block will go under the head. So I'll have to see if I aimed this correctly. So bring the edge of the block under the bottom points of the shoulder blades, and then bring the head back onto your short block, and see if this feels a little better. We have a couple of options of what to do with the legs. So you can have the knees bent, or extend the legs long, or even bring the soles of the feet together into more of a Supta Baddha Konasana. Now what I'm noticing is that this shorter block feels a little high for me. I still want some support under my head, so I'm going to interlace the hands behind the head, and the elbows go wide, just like in those power poses. And we're going to rest here in this passive heart opener. We're not having to work to get our heart open. The blocks and the support of the rolled up mat are going to do that for us. So I have that passage from Hebrews 7, a little longer than one verse, to read to you so that we can increase our confidence in the Lord. This is Hebrews 7, 21b through 28. The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind.
You are a priest forever. Because of this oath, Jesus has become the guarantor of a better covenant. Now there have been many of those priests, since death prevented them from continuing in office. But because Jesus lives forever, he has a permanent priesthood. Therefore, he is able to save completely, say it with me, save completely, those who come to God through him, because he always lives to intercede for us. And say it with me, lives to intercede for us. Such a high priest truly meets our need. Only one who is holy, blameless, pure, set apart from sinners, exalted above the heavens. Unlike the other high priests, he does not need to offer sacrifices day after day, first for his own sins and then for the sins of the people. He sacrificed for their sins once for all when he offered himself. For the law appoints as high priests men in all their weakness, but the oath which came after the law appointed the Son, who has been made perfect forever. Can hear the confidence in those words. Forever. Yes. Alrighty. So you can bring the hands on the outside of the knees and thighs if you were in Supta Baddha Konasana, and bring the knees up. And then this is a little awkward. We roll off to the side to come up and place those blocks or that yoga mat, if you weren't using your own, off to the side. Come into table for some cat-cows. So after a big stretch like that, especially one that's kind of counter to what we're always doing, we can notice that instead of just releasing tension, we've put a little tension into our backs. So we are going to do a little cat-cow. So bring the tailbone down, draw the belly in, shoulder blades expand, pushing the floor away, head drops. Complete the exhale, and then inhale, extend back through the tail, drop the belly, lift the heart. Confidence. And exhale. Round. Using that exhale, squeeze out of the air and go a little more into that cat arch. And inhale, sagging into cow, and then lifting the heart and expanding. Exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. And come to neutral. We're going to come down onto the belly. So, and we're going to be doing a little bit of back bending. So first I want you to start by, you can stack the palms, place your forehead on them, wagging the hips back and forth and just getting the hips wide. We want to make room in our low back so we don't feel so squinchy and crunchy in the low back when we do our cobras. And then stretch the legs back long. There's an inner spiral with the thighs. We're pressing down into the toes. And then we're going to reach the arms out in front of us and extra reach the right arm and pull that bottom rib away from the pelvis. And then extra reach with the left arm. Getting some length so that we have some nice length in the low back. Ultimately, that's where we're going to need it. And then we're going to bring the fingertips wide. Okay, this is our super cobra, so be thinking like a super pose here. And as we press into the feet, we're going to root down through the pubic bone, which draws up through the low belly and brings the tailbone more towards the floor and reaching towards the feet. And then we're going to press in on an inhale and come up. And exhale, come down. You can bring your forehead all the way to the floor if you like. And inhale, come up. And exhale, come down. One more time. Inhale up. Super Cobra. And exhale down. And then stack one hand on top of the other. Put the forehead on the hands. And we're going to lift the feet and then let the feet wiggle waggle, windshield wiper style, to release the low back. Our confidence is not in our own strength. We are weak, but He is strong. He is able to do what we cannot do for ourselves. And what in His strength it looks like we're doing, but it's in Him. And then reach the legs back again. And we're going to bring the hands alongside the chest, just like we were going to do a regular cobra. So the elbows are hugging in. There's a trench between the shoulder blades, and the shoulders aren't falling down and forward. They're lifting up and back. But we're going to lift the hands off the floor so that we can start to engage the rhomboids, some muscles on our back that we really need to be strong for us to be able to hold our heart lifted. So our hands are off the floor, and now we're going to lift the upper body ever so slightly into Shavasana, locust pose. You can dig the toes into the floor, lifting the kneecaps up, and then exhale, lower down. Forehead to floor. And we're going to do that one more time, but this time, a couple more times after that actually, sorry. Lift the hands and lift the feet. Kind of point the toes. So it's like we're pointing, but we're flexing just at the toes. Nice deep breath. And exhale. Bring the palms under the forehead and windshield wiper the low legs. Releasing any built up tension in the low back. And then we'll extend long again. Bring the hands along this side, lifting the palms off the floor, lifting the feet one last time, seeing if maybe we can squeeze the shoulder blades a little closer to each other. Can we reach a little longer through the legs? Oh, can we do more because we're filled with confidence in who Jesus is? And palms under the forehead and windshield wiper the legs. I like that verse. Our heart and our flesh may fail. We are weak indeed. But the Lord is the strength of our heart and our portion forever. And we're going to come up onto hands and knees. And we're going to be beginning some more downward facing dog work. But before we do that, I wanted to show you an alignment cue about the shoulders in Adho Mukha Svanasana. So in Adho Mukha Svanasana, we have the arms up alongside the ears, and we have the hands spread wide. So let's just get our arms like that. So this is what we're like in down dog, except we're upside down. Now we're gonna reach our arms up even taller and feel how our shoulders are now kind of in our ears, and it feels like we're all crunched in. Now bring the shoulders down. This is shoulders plugged in, right? Arms plugged down into the shoulder girdle in such a way that there's space between the ears and the shoulders. Feel how much more secure and strong that feels. So shoulders up, we're coming out of the shoulder girdle. Just feels like less confidence. And shoulders down, shoulder blades moving down the back. This is the position we want in our down dog. So we're going to do puppy first so that we build up to our down dog. So we'll come back onto hands and knees. Knees are under the hips, and we're going to walk the arms forward. And forehead comes to the ground. Now we really want to make a tricep stretch here, so pull the hips back, bring the elbows down,
And then bring the hands onto the shoulders and then kind of adjust. I feel like I need to walk my elbows in a little bit. And then sink the heart towards the floor while pulling the low belly up. So we get that heart opening, shoulder blades coming together, but we're not collapsing because we're supported by the Lord's strength. This isn't a sag. It's a lift and an open. And then reach the arms out long, coming up, planting the hands so that they're as wide as the shoulders. Wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. Index fingers forward, rooting down into the base of the fingers and knuckles, and lift the hips back to down dog. You can bend the knees generously and pull the belly towards the thighs. And then, just like we practiced when we were seated, we're going to plug the arms into the shoulder and roll the outer edges of the armpits down. And then straighten the knees any amount, still keeping those sit bones reaching high. A nice, strong, and confident down dog. And then we're going to switch into another yoga power pose where we take up a lot of space and have our heart really open. So we're going to shift forward a little bit and then bring this right foot halfway up the mat, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, and reach the right arm up for Vasisthasana. I feel like I have to remind my chin to come out of the chest, emerge like a little turtle from its shell. Yes, we're really lifting the pelvis up away from the floor. And if this is feeling like a lot of work, you can pause here. This is definitely a power pose and will fill you with confidence. Or you can bring that foot behind the leg up on the toes for wild thing. So again, we want to plug that arm into the shoulder girdle, lift the heart, lift the hips. Big back bend, filled with confidence. He is able. And then sweep it around. Hands and feet back and down dog. Pulling the hips back. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So step the left foot halfway up the mat and come onto the outer edge of the right foot this time. And reach the left arm up. Pelvis is lifting up away from the ground. Big confidence-filling posture that reminds us what it feels like to be relying on God's strength. He is able. And if you'd like to join me in Wild Thing, you can step that foot behind you, come on the ball of the foot, and reach. Plug that arm into the shoulder girdle. Lift and arch the heart up. Filling up with air, filling up with confidence in God. And sweep it around. Woo! Pull back into down dog for a moment. And then knees wide, big toes together. Child's pose for a little pause here. Inhaling into the back, sighing out any tension. Feeling as the breath is deepening, as those were big postures that required some oxygen, that the expanse of the ribs presses into the thighs, taking up more space, confident to go forth. Not because we are strong, but because He is able. And rise up. All right, so we had our little break. And now we're going to do some more SON, sun salutes, and add some of the other poses that we were doing to spice it up a bit. So inhale and sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, step the right foot back, knee down. Sweep the arms up on an inhale. And exhale, elbows wide, heart lifted. Inhale up. And exhale, elbows wide. Really pulling those elbows back even further than the wrists. And inhale up. And exhale down. Sternum lifting super high, filled with confidence. And exhale, sweep the hands to the floor and step back to plank. So we're pushing the floor away, doming up through the upper back, pulling in the low belly, and then drop down to the knees, and then the chest, then the chin, elbows coming in super close to the sides of the body, and spring off the toes to come forward. Flatten the feet, fingertips wide for that super cobra on the inhale, and exhale down. Bring the hands back alongside the ribs, come through table into down dog. Keeping the arms plugging up into the shoulder girdle. Get 5 good breaths here. Filling up with confidence. Feeling rooted through the index finger and thumb side of the hand. Feeling rooted through the heels and lifted through the sit bones. Then up on the toes, bend the knees, step the right foot forward between the hands. May take a couple steps when you're new to yoga. Drop down to that back knee and inhale, sweep it up. And exhale, elbows wide, heart lifted, collarbones wide. Inhale, lift up, fill up with confidence, and exhale, exuding that confidence. Everyone can see the confidence that you have in Jesus and His power. And hands to the floor. I like to be up on my fingertips as I step the back foot in so I can come up halfway. Exhale, bow. Hands to hips, elbows back, knees bent. He is able. Smile and fill up with that confidence. And inhale, sweep up. And exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, reach back with our left foot, but this time don't drop down on the knee. We're gonna come up into a crescent lunge or a high lunge. We're gonna bring the right hand to the right hip, fingertips forward, right, for our power pose. We're gonna inhale the left arm up. You can either stay here, very centered and balanced, or lean and look up. Finding our strength in Him. Our heart and flesh may fail, but the Lord is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. And hands sweep down, step back to plank, low belly tucked in, shoulders higher than hips, and then either down, knees, chest, chin, or lower, chaturanga, keeping the shoulders close. Of course the shoulders are close, keeping the elbows close to the body. Flatten the feet, lift the kneecaps, fingertips wide. Inhale for cobra, super cobra, and exhale down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, back through table into down dog again. Resting in down dog. Feeling the energy we're creating with all this confident movement. He is able to save to the uttermost, even us, even me. And and then up on the tippy toes. Bend the knees, bring the left foot forward and come up into high lunge. Left hand, fingertips in front, and then right hand up, and lean if you like, gaze is up. Our strength is in the Lord. He is our reason that we can have confidence, because He is able. And sweep it down, fingertips to floor, step the back foot forward, up halfway, bow down, hands on hips, elbows squeeze in and come up. He is able. Alrighty, I have another heart opener for us. This time, we're going to come onto the back. So, you can come onto the back and start with your knees bent and the palms face down. And we're going to sit on our palms. So bring them under the seat and then extend the legs, pointing the toes. And we're going to press into the forearms and press in the elbows to lift the heart up, and then bring the head back down. No weight is on the head. Actually, I'm going to rest on my bun so I don't crush it too much. So the crown of the head just kisses the ground. The weight is on the elbows and the forearms. This is fish pose. We can pause here. Don't turn the head from side to side. Stay in a very straight line, but with the heart super lifted. And this is not a pose we get to do very often throughout the day, so stay as long as you can, filling up with breath. And then when you're ready, come down onto the back of the head, release the hands, widen the feet, and let everything flop down for a brief shavasana. I feel like when I've done a fish pose, I need a second for the blood to equalize. It's not a pose you want to pop out of and jump up to do something else. So just pause here and just feel the effects in the body. The coursing energy pumping through all the veins and into all the muscles. How invigorating we feel after this time of building our confidence through our posture, and building our confidence spiritually through depending on the Lord's strength, through knowing He is able. Now hug the knees into the chest and circle the arms around, and you can start to rock from side to side. Feels good. You do need a little back release. So those back bends are supported by our core muscles. So if you, like me, have a little weaker core muscles, you can feel a little strainy in your back after doing some back bends like we've been doing. So these back releases should feel really good, unless it's already helping. And then hands on the heads of the knees, and we'll begin to circle around in one direction and then the other. And then big toes near each other, knees wide. And we'll circle the knees apart and in, feeling the low back lift off the floor and come back down. And then just the opposite, draw the knees close and then let them go far. Feeling that nice massage on the low back.
And bring the soles of the feet to the floor, hip width apart. Arms out, shoulder height. And we're going to cross the right ankle across the top of the left thigh, just like we do for thread the needle. But we're going to let that whole leg package fall off to the left and gaze over to the right. Just a little different twist. And then center the head, lift the knees, and now we'll come into thread the needle. So if you just want to push that thigh away and that feels like enough of a hip stretch for you, that's fine. Otherwise, you can interlace behind the left thigh and draw it in. It's always optional to press that right elbow into the inner thigh and get a little more stretch, or release that pressing and draw the knee a little more to midline and you'll feel a little less. So play with the amount your body's asking for. You can even rock. Smile. Filled with confidence. All right. Now we're going to change legs. So bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh. I call those free chiropractic adjustments. Did you hear it crack? And then we'll let that whole leg package fall up to the right, arms at shoulder height, gaze to the left. A twist that takes up a little more space. Because we're so filled with confidence in Jesus, we can't help it. And center the head and lift the legs and either press that left thigh away or draw your right thigh in, pressing the elbow into the thigh or not, keeping the foot flexed though, and perhaps rocking. Feels so good. And release. And we'll check in with the low back about Shavasana. You can extend the legs long. Heels as wide as the mat, feet flopping out, arms about 45 degrees from the body, shrugging the shoulder blades under so that the heart lifts a little more. If this feels good, on your low back you can stay here, or you can even draw the soles of the feet together again for that Supta Baddha Konasana. You can even interlace the fingers behind the head and bring the thumbs to the back of the neck and rest in Shavasana this way. If your low back is not having it and you want to bring the soles of the feet to the edges of the mat and let the knees fall in, that is perfectly fine as well. I have a song for us. About taking that confidence we have in Jesus and deciding to follow him.
To
Deepen the breath. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. And begin to rock the head from side to side, making small movements. Inhale the arms up overhead till the thumbs touch on the floor behind you. Stretch the legs out long, pointing the toes, feet coming together to come into a long stretch. Reach the right fingertips and right toes away from each other even more, squinching the left side of the body. Reach the left fingertips and left toes away from each other, squinching in the right side of the body. Do a couple more of these fishy wiggles that feel so good. Yet another heart-lifting pose. And draw the knees in towards the chest one at a time. And roll to the right side, using that bottom arm as a pillow as we rest in the fetal position for a breath or two. Use the hands to press into the floor and come up into a comfortable seated position with the eyes closed. Inhale the arms up overhead, palms come together at the heart, lifting the heart towards the thumbs. Chin parallel to the floor, staying in that filled with confidence posture. Jesus, we thank you that you are able to save to the uttermost those who put their trust in you as they come to God. We are so grateful that we are included in those who can put their trust in you and be filled with that confidence. I am so grateful that you can save me to the uttermost when I put my confidence in you. And Lord, help us to remember that you are the source of our strength. You are the vine, we are the branches. We are drawing from you to be able to fight against our temptations and to live a life of righteousness and holiness. Lord, help us to be filled with confidence in you this day and forevermore. In your precious name, amen. Thank you, and I hope you will look at the picture of those power poses and try some of those this week and see how you feel when you hold them for 2 minutes. And there's a video by Pamrita in the description where you can watch how she varies 8 of those power poses for women. I think it's really helpful. So thank you, and I'll see you at Bible study. Bye-bye.